The Tamron 18-300 lens mounted on the Sony a6700, our photo and video test. Let's see how it does. Today I'm shooting with the Tamron 18-300 lens mounted on my new Sony a6700 camera. I went out and shot some photos and videos to show. You will be able to see going from the wide 18mm end to the 300mm zoom end and more in my testing. How sharp is it? How good is the focus on the Sony a6700? Is this the right lens for you? Maybe this video will help you decide. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more informative videos like this. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment area below. Now let's get started. Looking at photos first. Let's see what the zoom range looks like first. Here is what the 18mm wide end looks like. Now on all the photos I have the basic shooting information displayed on each photo to see. Now zoomed into 300mm, you can see this is a very good zoom range and equals 450mm of zoom on a full frame camera. Let's see that one more time, going from the wide all the way to the 300mm zoom. Next we have a girl on a bike that rode by. The a6700 focus is very fast and did quite well on this Tamron lens. What do you think of the sharpness of this? Now here's a boat that was sitting out in the water just off the dock I was standing on. Here's a more zoomed in look. It was a very bright and hot day out here. What about bird tracking with this lens? I got lucky and this bird was just starting to take off, so I switched to bird focus tracking and it worked very good. Here's a few shots in a row. I did crop in somewhat on the photos for this here, and I'm shooting all raw and editing in Capture One, and they still have no raw support for the a6700 files, so I'm converting all the raw files into DNG using the Adobe DNG converter so I can edit them all. The Tamron lens did quite well with tracking this bird with no problem. I then had a friendly bird stop by and land right by me. Here's a photo of him, and I've got a couple close-ups coming up next. Here's a little bit closer up shot, but you can see the background from this lens gets quite busy on shots like this. Now as the bird let me get a little bit closer, I get a little bit better of a background blur behind it. It also looks better with that darker area. And if you look at the eye there, that's that bird eye focus, still doing its job. Okay, one more from this crazy bird. He flew over to a post over in the water, so I was able to get this shot from a different angle. So it's a whole different look here. What do you think? Okay, let's do another 18mm to 300mm zoom shot. First, here's the 18mm wide shot. These are some beach condos. These are rentals that they rent out for people coming here on vacation. Now for the zoom shot at 300mm. That's quite a big zoom range you get there. Now let's see them both side by side. The 18mm wide all the way to the 300mm zoom. Here's a building across the water from me. Then not quite at 300mm, but a fishing pier. Walk out, enjoy the sunset dock. Here's another one at 300mm. Two people on a jet ski out for a ride in the Back Bay area. Now I've moved over to the beach area, to a lifeguard stand area with a couple of the rescue vehicles parked there. Now on this shot, it was so bright out, I honestly couldn't even tell she was using a laptop on the beach. At 300mm zoom, I couldn't make that out in the camera. I didn't realize that until I was editing the picture later, that she's actually sitting there with a laptop. Okay, here's one at 34mm. This is one of our standard beach houses that you'll see hundreds of up and down this area here. By the way, I'm in Gulf Shores, Alabama. That's where these pictures are being taken. Here's another one at 300mm. Remember, I've got video coming up here shortly too, 4K video coming up. Here's some lights that were left over on the beach here. We have lots of different events going on here all the time. We're getting ready for our shrimp festival coming here soon. This is the Golf Place building here in Gulf Shores. And on the grassy area right here in the front, we have lots of events that happen. This is where the Shrimp Festival will be happening. They have yoga, all kinds of other events going on through the year. So what do you think of this lens so far? The Tamron 18-300. Here's another bird photo. The bird was hanging out in that grassy area. As you can see, once again, the background is a little bit busy for my taste. What do you think? One last photo from the beach at 300mm, and then we'll get into showing the video. Coming up next. Okay, now for the video clips. They're all shot in 4K 24p, and I'm using the Sony Cinetone color settings that are now available in the a6700 camera. This is at the full 300mm zoom range. A little volleyball on the beach. This is also at the 300mm zoom range, and I'm using a tripod. It's a very small tripod. Would have been better if I would have had a more thicker, heavier tripod, but this is what I had with me. Now here we're at 18mm wide with the Tamron 18-300 lens. This is generally a very busy intersection here, but we just ended basically our summer season, so it's not too busy right now until our next festival starts, and then this area will be just completely packed out. Now we're starting at the 300mm zoom end, and I'm going to slowly rotate out to the 18mm. The lens doesn't smoothly rotate out or zoom out, so it's a little jerky. But then we end up at the 18mm end, and we got a little bit more traffic finally that came. So far, I'm thinking the lens is a little bit soft on the zoom end, not too bad on the wide end. I guess that's what you would expect for a lens that covers such a wide zoom range. I went ahead and ordered the Sony 70-350 lens, and I'm going to compare that to this lens to see how that does, because I might end up just going with the Sony over this. I'm not sure. We'll see. I like the fact that this is a little bit smaller and maybe lighter. Basically smaller. I think this is around 5 inches, and the Sony 70-350 is around 8.5 or a little bit over 8 inches long, so it'd be easier to carry this. This lens and the a6700 fits in a nice little bag that I can carry on my belt quite easily. On this clip, I'm at 300mm, and I have the focus point on the traffic light up above. That way it keeps everything in focus as the cars are coming in and out. You can see all that heat rising from the street. Another zoom in. I'm not sure what zoom range I was out here, but this was across the street from me. Nice image of the American flag. Some more traffic going by down by the beach. This is the surf style building here, and I'm actually focused on the building. I think I'm around f8, so everything should be nice and sharp here, because I did not use a ND filter, which would have been nice to use. So my shutter speeds are quite high, and my f-stop is quite high as well. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful, so you can make a decision. Is this a lens that you would buy for yourself? The Tamron 18-300. Check some upcoming videos I'll have when I get the Sony 70-350 in. I'll shoot both of them and see what the difference is between them. So I'll see you next time. So that's it for today's video. That's the Sony a6700 with the Tamron 17-300 lens on it. Please like and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to have a lot more videos. And what I did is I ordered the Sony 70-350 lens. That'll be coming in a few days. I really didn't want to get that because it's much longer. It was going to be harder to carry around, a little bit longer, heavier. But I'm not super happy with the sharpness of this Tamron 18-300. So if the Sony is that much better, I will probably end up sending this Tamron back and just go with the Sony and have to deal with the extra length and weight. So that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Have a good night.